Welcome back. This is HsVlog Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarn adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today, and really excited, of course, to be bringing you a traditional style podcast of knitting goodness. We are podcasting from back home, which means all is well. My mother is on the road to recovery, which is amazing, and we are all feeling very good and thankful for that. While we are here, we're going to be going through finished objects. Nope, WIPS, all WIPS. We're on the WIP train heavy, so I hope you hop along. And yeah, I have a professional development session coming up, and I always feel that little like push for time where I have something coming up at a specific time just energizes me. And so we are going to do a quick and dirty little update of all of the things that I'm actively working on my needles with, hopefully I have time to go over some new acquisitions that I have purchased online. Okay, let's do this. So hope you're enjoying your spring, and I definitely am so absorbing all the goodness in the city and the outskirts of where I was in my hometown with the sunshine, the beautiful weather, and the blossoms. So I feel like I had to reflect in my outfit today. Today we are wearing the Sorrel sweater, beautiful design by Wool & Pine. I knit this using 2 strands of Rauma Finull in an apricot colorway. Of course, the colorways are all numbered, so I'll include it because I just find it is such a stunner. And I heavily modified the pattern as the gauge was so off, shocking. This is before my 2024 knitting intentions. And so I had omitted whole sections of pattern repeats of the motif on the yoke. I'll talk about the sweater quickly. It is a top-down construction, round yoke, of course. Interestingly, the sweater is worked inside out to get the dip stitches that create just this stunning design. It's so beautiful. I'm in love with it. And then the remainder of the sweater outside of the dip stitches is a reverse stock net. So here's a stock net that's worn inside, and we are wearing it kind of in the reverse, which is the pattern designer's intent. Beautiful sweater, and I'm in love. I was very close with the yarn chicken issue, of course, so we made the sweater cropped, which I believe the pattern does call for, but I also made 3/4 length sleeves with a twisted rib. I cannot remember which, yes, I'm looking at pattern pictures. I think it is supposed to be a twisted rib, so hurrah, I may have found that I followed pattern for that. I do have memories of making this in the spring of 2 years ago, I believe, last year maybe, because spring is definitely a heightened color time for me, and you might see that in some of my WIPs coming up. Amazing. Okay, that's a Sorrel sweater by Wool & Pine. If you have any questions about this sweater, because I don't think I waxed on about details possibly ever in previous videos, although I will have a quick peruse, ask me in the comments. You can always DM me on Instagram to find out. All right, we are going to get into the whippy action now. So I'm just going to move some plasticky bags, I'm sorry. And we will I have to do this one first. I am pulling up what has been the hottest works in progress that is just firing off the needles in the last bit. This is, sorry, I feel like I need to go back. This is the Tulip Sweater by Melody Hoffmann. This is the second design that I'm working with of her gorgeous garments that she has prepared. And I will talk about this a smidge. We are working top down, basic raglan sweater. So you'll see there's like a 2-stitch raglan count here with a very specific pattern of increases, which I briefly touched on in the last episode last week. And I'm going on the sleeve already. It's just been a delight. This is yarn that I purchased in Mahone Bay in Nova Scotia by Heidi Wulfraat. She has a whole studio there of hand-dyed yarns, some commercial, but this in particular is a Canadian, I believe it's an Aran weight, and it's just awesome. It's very Canadiana. I do have to say, for a rustic Canadian yarn, It is soft. I mean, if you compare it to other Canadian yarns, and it definitely has a massive like stretch bounce to it, which I'm like fully enjoying playing with on the needles. The interesting bit, I would say, of this design, of course, of the sweater is the scallop bottom. It is just, you know, rocking out on my delight. I can't, I don't know what the words are to express how happy this is making me. So it is a scallop bottom edge. Obviously, I have to be careful with how I share how it is knit up because this is a paid for pattern, but you basically work a certain amount of ribbing. You follow very specific techniques of the pattern. I will discuss, I think, in detail once this is cast off. I think the challenges that I had in preparing the scalloped edge. For me, I really had to adjust my tension. So my first scalloped edge, my first like little like tulip component, I think I went through it like, I don't know, like 5 times before I was really happy with how it turned out. In the end, like we're sitting pretty, and it's just so fun. I just want to put this on my body and wear it like I do, like my sorrel sweater, where it's cozy but super springy fun. My intent will be that I knit full sleeves, not 3/4. I am going to obviously mimic a 1x1 ribbing. I've been loosely following the decreases, kind of not really, with the sleeve. I've done mods, of course I have. One of which is that I cast on at the neckline, kind of like post where you would for the ribbing, with the intent that I will pick these up after and cast on for so many stitches, but I'm going to cast on a lot less than in the recommended pattern to get more cinched in neckline. I don't know if that will be a good idea in the end or not, but at least I can modify with how I see appropriate to how the sweater is basically fitting on my body with the neck. This is mega cropped. So the idea behind the sweater, I believe by the designer, because she has like 2 lengths, is a super crop length. She has a regular kind of, you know, I don't know, waistline hem, I would say. But this length is intended to be worn with skirts, dresses, which is perfection for spring, and I would even say chillier summer moments here in Ontario. So far, that is the Tulip Sweater by Melody Hoffmann, and I'm thrilled. I also have to say, side note, that this is going to be very lightweight and really economical. I believe in the end that I'm probably going to be able to make this roughly out of 3 skeins, which seems bonkers, but I think it's because it is a less ease sweater than all the Scandinavian designs that I've been working off of for the past while, and the fact that it's super cropped. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling it already. It's not done. I cannot wait until it is, and then I can give a more accurate kind of review of what I'm thinking about the tulip sweater. There we go. Next up is this. This is the newer slipover that I'm making into the long sleeve version with the yarn that was chosen. Sorry, I hope you cannot hear all the sirens. It's a busy day in the city today. This was the yarn that was chosen by the randomized spinner for my next spring cast-on a few podcasts ago. And it was a colorway that I'm just really not feeling. Obviously, this was the yarn that I chose. I'm in love with the yarn, the texture, the feel. I've worked with it many times. This is, my goodness, sorry, the sirens. I really hope it's okay. This is Harrisville Designs Highland, which is their thicker of 2 yarn cone options. Their other is Shetland. This is yarn that I purchased actually in Toronto from Unit So it's very rustic, and because it's on a cone, it's very dense and crunchy right now. And I do know from past experience with knitting with this yarn that it will bloom just beautifully. I've had a lot of people weigh in on what to do about the color, or, you know, kind of overall how to increase the joy of this sweater. So we will get to that, I think, once it's knit up, but we're not there yet. This sweater, I should say slip over, that I'm making into a pullover is a design by Strikkekaffe. I believe her name is Natasha Hodne, and I have knit this already in the slip over version. It's got some really beautiful details of the shoulder. Here we are, of the increases. It has a split hem, which is a fun feature. Again, with the intent that this will be a spring/summer knit. I'm knitting it super cropped so I can wear it with skirts and dresses. And I am kind of freestyling the sleeve. So there's short row shaping that happens to bring the sleeve down. You could tell I'm like rowing out here massive. I'm sure it'll block out. But the decreases, I'm just going after a try on when I'm feeling naturally that a decrease would work well. But so far, so good. I think it's going to be a really beautiful sweater on. We will see about what additions or potentially like post cast off mods or applications I'll do to it. I might even leave it. I know Nora from aka Nora Knits, who's just the best. She said just embrace the green. I might. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not there yet, but maybe she'll get embraced. I'm not sure. So this is the newer slipover that is going into the long sleeve version of the newer quote pullover with the Harrisville Designs Highland in Tundra. There we go. So that is still on the needles and still working, but obviously my Tulip pullover is kind of dominating my time in knitting world, which is totally cool because, you know, we're the boss of our knitting. We get to decide what we get to knit on. Talking about boss of our knitting, let's get into the next. Oh boy, Jennifer, here we go. I was at a knit session on Sunday at the Knitting Loft up in North York, which they host every Sunday. I have attended officially for the first time on Sunday their little knit circle. I never have officially like sat down and knit on a Sunday before there. I've usually gone up to this area, the North York area, I think it's North York, to pick up items that I have purchased online or to have a little quick peruse on a Sunday, and have just kind of like slipped in, slipped out. They're so lovely. But this time I went with the intention of sitting down and knitting, and I did, and it was so great. I actually did this after a race I did. I participated in the Toronto Marathon. No, I didn't run the marathon. I ran the 10K with a girlfriend from out of town. And that was kind of the, I think, dividing point for me between being back in my hometown and just looking after my mother with things. And then I came back later on Saturday, prepped for the race, ran first thing, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning. The race was supposed to start, late start, whatever. And we ran together in the rain. It wasn't that bad. It was more like spitty-esque. Kind of think like coastal wet run. I had the best time. I love running. I feel like it's like knitting. It brings me great joy. And for me, I am a competitive person, but in running, I think because I've had such a slew of injuries in the past that I'm not a competitive runner. I'm very much enjoying the moment of running. I enjoy the action of running. I love chatting with a friend while running. And that is exactly what we did. We both had a lovely time. She made her best time in her 10K. We ran together the whole time. It might have been my best time. I don't know. I should probably like look at the watch more and track it, I guess, but I don't. I just go to enjoy. And yeah, it was a super, super great time. So we ran the 10K first thing in the morning. I walked back from the race because, you know, TTC is a little challenging in the city lately, and showered up, ate, and then I went right up to the knitting loft for the knit circle. Bruna was there, one of the owners. She's the mother of the mother-daughter team of the knitting loft, and it was lovely. I had a girlfriend from the knit night on Tuesdays that I attend who was up there, and so she was actually the driving force why I actually went up on a Sunday. And yeah, I got to knit, I got to chat, I got to squish yarn. I mean, it was a dream. And especially after my other favorite thing of running, like it was awesome. It was a great day. And so this is where this is coming in. Well, at the knitting loft, picking up yarn that I will share with you in a moment because I have a heap of new acquisitions. I obviously was not planning on getting through more, but one of the Dynamo knitters who was up there said she was in a knitting rut. We got into a little chat, and she was talking about this specific yarn that I have the yarn label somewhere. Oh my goodness, what did I do with it? Okay, hold on, I'm gonna go find it. Goodness. Okay, just found the yarn label. She was telling me about this yarn. She said it was one of her favorites, that I had to try it. And I was like, I don't need yarn. I already have, like, I just picked up a whole like Santa sack of brand new yarn to me. And well, of course, she brought me over, showed me the yarn, and I'm like, okay, I'll go for it. Let me show you the yarn first, then I'll talk about the yarn ball. This is a Scottish yarn. It is, I hope it's coming in-ish. It's a beautiful, I would call it like a bright, like tomato red, but is like woven with, I don't know, like bubblegum pink. It's ridiculous. It just gets like my heart going. It's so good. It is this guy. How am I going to say it? Gilpin, Lalland DK. This is it. I mean, I've seen this online before. I haven't really given it, you know, a full-on chance of touching and squishing and fully enjoying the colorways that they offer. So in general, it is a DK. It's supposed to bloom up magically. We shall see. And a lot of the colorways that they do have are monochromatic, but there are some, including this, that have like a twist of a different color within it. This color is, what are we? Flame. It's flame. And I'm in love. So I've decided to cast on a Sophie scarf. And of course, it's just one of those knits that's going to come with me whenever I'm going out as a last minute emergency knitting knit. And yeah, it's going to be great. I so enjoyed the colorway. It's just fab. It's everything that I love in bright colored knitting. I do want to say that I think what I'm going to do is rip it out. You know, this is what we do at Pears World Knitting Household. And I think I'm going to change the increases because I think if I continue following the pattern, and yes, I am following the pattern of the Sophie shawl designed by Petite Knit, or sorry, Sophie scarf, not the shawl. I have knit the shawl a few times. This is the scarf, which I technically have never knit before. I'm going to minimize the amount of increases that I'm doing. So instead of doing it every so often in the pattern, I'm going to stretch it out so there's less decreases over time, because I actually want a thin or thinner scarf instead of like a chunkier, more like super triangle. Oops. That's the intent. We'll see. And yeah, it's obviously, you know, it's a Sophie scarf or Sophie shawl, scarf. Goodness, scarf. So super easy, pretty mindless. I'm just tracking with the little light bulb stitch markers here, and easy peasy. That is the Sophie scarf with, oh goodness, Gilpin. I'm sure it's Scottish, like I'm making it French. Gilpin yarn, and it's just a stunner. I'm gonna go through as efficiently as I can my new yarn, and there's basically like two chunks of purchases that I made. This was during local yarn shop day that happened 2 weeks ago now, where the Knitting Loft had 20% off of all of their items, including their fabulous yarn that sometimes you just can't get anywhere else, hardly in Canada. And so I made some purchases. I did have gift cards, so I kind of classified it as an okay purchase. So let's do this. My very first yarn that I'm showing is this stunning beast here. What? It's so gorgeous. This is Hillesvag Tinda. It is a Norwegian super rustic yarn with a bit of sheen-ish to it. It's in a, I believe it's a dyed brown color. I tried to get their undyed version, couldn't get enough to do a sweater quantity, so I went with this option. This is, of course, it has a number. Oh no, it's a light brown. This Brun, which I'm assuming is light brown. And it's gorgeous. It's a DK weight. I've got enough for a sweater. So this most likely will be a fall. There's more. I have 4. A fall cast on for me, and I'm going to try to hold off because I have a lot of other like fun spring knitting. So this will be probably like, I'm going to try to hold out like late summer, early autumn knits for me to knit on. And I think I'm eyeballing. I have purchased who is it? It's the designer and owner of Knitting for Olive. I do forget her name, Finull, I think it is. She designs a DK weight sweater pullover with a almost saddle shoulder, I believe. The Carl's Johan sweater. I'll pop in a little picture, but that is the intent with this yarn. Oh, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. And I never wore brown. So I hope it works with the skin tone. But that is one of the options. I might be a little tardy for my professional development, so I'm gonna do this really quickly. My next item is pure Gant. This is not pretty that I'm showing it to you like this. I should be showing it in this way. Is that better? Oh no, I was trying not to get the codes there because it's not pretty. There, that's pretty. That's pretty. So this is all pure Gant that I have worked with for my pressed flowers pullover. Again, in Norwegian yarn. This one's super commercial, and I picked ridiculous fun colors. Can you tell? I needed fun colors for spring, and I just think it was like a bit of a stressful bit that I was going through. So this is working and hitting my heart hard. This blue, actually, in hindsight, which is interesting, is my mother's like favorite color of all time. Her whole house has like colors of this in it. So of course, when I had the bag here, she slept over before her next follow-up. She pointed this out. What a beautiful color. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is your color. That's funny. This is intended to be for Caitlin Hunter's Juniper pullover. No, Juniper crop. It's a sweater, like a crop sweater, summery-ish sweater that is inspired by a rooster, a favorite rooster of hers. I have had this in my queue for a ridiculous amount of time. It takes 5 colors. So the idea is that my main will be this ridiculous, gorgeous poppy color, or pomegranate color, I think they called it. And then I've got these different colors around, the springy colors, to add as contrast colors. Oops. But I thought it's because I have so much cream. Like, here's my like scrappy yarn bag of creams. I'm going to use this as well as one of my, this is so not working, as one of my contrast colors. My idea is that I want to pick, if I can, like a, oh, maybe I don't have one. Oh, yes I do. Okay, hold up. There's going to be big noises and I got to wrap up. So hold up. Ugh. Okay. My idea was that I'm going to use the fluffy, which I think I have a couple of these, the fluffy option of the cream. This is stainless garn. They're alpaca, they're brushed alpaca that I made the Sunday sweater with, so that this like pops texture-wise against the other colors. And this will be for like one of the minimal contrast color options that I don't need lots of yarn for, because I have lots, shocking, lots of yarn and lots of scrappy yarn. So this hopefully will get rid of some of the scrappy yarns that I have, hopefully. Okay, I will show you in also 2 seconds what else I bought, which is super minimal. And we'll just wrap this guy up. I purchased stitch markers. Here we go. Stitch markers, because I needed those because I lose them every 5 seconds, especially while traveling, transporting my body and my knitting. They always get lost on the subway, on the streetcar, on the sidewalk. So we got just these little cocoa knit ones. And I got these. These are brand new to me. So I've had cocoa knits before, not triangles. Those are fun. But this, what? I don't even know. These are stitch markers from a company, Amical, Tulip, I don't know. But they're supposed to be slightly grippy. They're yellow. They're perfect for spring. And there we go. It's a new brand for me, a new stitch marker option. And hopefully I don't lose these ones, nor of course any of the triangles. There's like 1,054 stitch markers. So hopefully, we won't lose all 54. And that's that. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Others like it. I invite you to subscribe and like the video. In addition, if you're feeling a little extra, click on the Ko-Fi link. I'm going to go into my Spec Ed PD in 5 seconds, so I'm going to hammer off now. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments about anything I spoke about with the WIPS, with what I'm wearing, with maybe the gorgeous new acquisitions that I have, shout out in the comments, super appreciate it. And let me know what you're knitting on for this spring. We shall chat soon, and until next time, I hope you find great joy in your knitting. Take care.